Welcome back to the Boys and Bolos TV. Boys and Bolos TV, is that what we're calling it?
This is Boys and Bolos TV, yes.
Boys and Bolos TV.
We have our OnlyFans set up, but we're going to talk about soccer.
OnlyFans? I thought we were going to do the Patreon.
Well, we could do OnlyFans and Patreon. OnlyFans is for that exclusive content.
Yeah, it truly is.
Where, like, we wear jerseys we would never wear in public, and that's the shame that we would have to put on OnlyFans.
It wouldn't get not a lot of subscribers.
No, absolutely not.
I will say, speaking of subscribers, that we got some a little bit of traction. I'd say the most traction, YouTube traction, which isn't a lot, but some traction on the YouTube channel. And I had to experience firsthand the pains of video editing. Oh, it's brutal.
I put up a 1 minute and 40-second video up on YouTube on another channel I have, and it took to like do the whole thing a lot longer than you'd want it to.
But here's the goal. This is what all YouTubers dream of. It's to make money, obviously, to become a famous YouTuber, to quit your day job, all that kind of stuff. But mostly it's just to monetize enough to pay somebody else to do the editing.
That's it.
That's really it. That's the dream.
Lowest threshold.
That's the lowest threshold. To get to the point where I can just press record, and then whatever gets dumped out gets sent to a person, and they edit it for me, and I don't have to worry about it.
And it looks amazing. And they have all the cameras, and they're zooming in, and they're doing like the Ken Burns effect,
right?
Adding in stuff.
There is like different. I know I was, kind of, I guess, farting around in Premiere Pro, Adobe, because I pay for all the Adobe shit, and there is like features where it'll like zoom in, even just with one camera, it'll like zoom in and. Just for that, when that person's talking, and they'll do like close-ups and stuff depending on how you want to edit it. But it's a lot of editing. Like I just wanted to add in some intro music with the fade out, and it took me like 45 minutes because I didn't know how to use it.
It's unbelievable. But the Prem is back. / the Prem was always back.
But no Champions League. Well, there's Champions League coming up.
Champions League tomorrow. We can preview if you'd like.
There's a Champions League game on Tuesday and Wednesday of this week.
And Europa.
Oh, in Europa. That's right.
Thursday.
Arsenal play in Europa, right?
Yes, sir.
Liverpool play Real Madrid. Is that the correct fixture?
Let me look. You want to start there with
I think there's a tasty Real Madrid
champions?
matchup. Let's just talk about it. Yeah, let's talk about it.
My phone is loading. We will have the games soon.
You will.
All the games. So tomorrow there's Eintracht Frankfurt and Napoli.
Oh, that's going to be Eintracht Frankfurt's going to get smashed. Napoli is very
I don't know.
Good.
They won Europa League last year, so they're gods.
True. But no, Napoli is actually like the best team in like the best informed team probably in Europe.
You think so?
Oh, they're playing out of their minds.
What about Man U? You were saying
United's really good
in the chat.
Yeah,
I mean, they're just looking very positive.
Okay.
And then you're right, Liverpool, Real Madrid, the redo of 2018 and 2022.
one of them is going home. Like one of them's done.
That's how that works. Yeah, when they play in
Liverpool, I have a strong feeling it's going to be Liverpool.
Really?
Yeah, Liverpool. I mean, they've been in better form lately, but I don't think they have any answer to. I mean, I guess what is it? Vinicius, Benzema.
They've got some players.
Real Madrid. Rudiger.
Who?
Rudiger.
Be careful with Rudy.
I heard some chatter that Spurs want Rudiger.
Everyone loves Rudiger. It's ridiculous. I was looking at something today I saw on Instagram, and Real Madrid's like next 8 games are really brutal. They play Liverpool back, home and away. They play Barcelona, so they have the Clásico. They play Atletico Madrid, so they have their hometown derby. Then they play, I think, Espanyol in the Copa del Rey, which is their like FA Cup. And I don't know. It was like 6 or 7 matches, and they're all super brutal. And they're all like, if they lose, they're in trouble. So the pressure's really on Real Madrid to perform over the next like 6-7 weeks. And I actually think we'll even know if La Liga's over probably by early April, which is early to call La Liga. But we may know because Real Madrid's the pressure's on. And I think Barcelona, not only are they in the lead in La Liga, but they're in, what's that thing called? Europa League. So it should be a little bit easier. But anyways, we're not here to talk about La Liga. But with these fixtures, I assume then on the games tomorrow, you're going to go with Napoli and Real Madrid.
Yeah, yeah, Napoli for sure. Real Madrid could be a tie.
Could be tie. What about Inter and Porto? Do you have any favorites there?
Inter. Only because I know Inter's just they have more money in terms of like value on the field from the players. I guess.
Sure.
So I don't know much about Inter this year. And then the last game, City versus Red Bull Salzburg.
Leipzig.
The
question about the Leipzig game is it's just a banana peel because right now City is favorites to win the Champions League. They were odds-on favorites more or less in this past summer, and then the second they signed Haaland, it was like, okay, well,
true.
They've got the juggernaut of the Champions League, a guy who averages more goals than games he's ever played. So this is just a banana peel. I think City take it. And then in the FC Porto and Inter, I really don't have a dog in that fight. I don't really know too much about either of those teams. I've watched them both in like the round of 16, but they're just kind of like me, So
don't care.
You want to go back to the Prem?
Yeah. Any surprises from the weekend?
Well, I thought you guys played really well.
What was your big sticking point?
My big sticking point is that Chelsea have taken 2 wins out of 15, and somehow Graham Potter still has a job, and somehow Graham Potter thinks that. I mean, I guess what Chelsea's going to just stick with him. It's the weirdest thing. Like normal Chelsea, he's gone two games ago.
Yeah, it's very uncharacteristic of Chelsea to keep a manager with this bad of form. Really bad. Like it's beyond form. It seems like there's a bad vibe going on at Chelsea right now.
I mean, here's the crazy thing. As bad as we are, we've been sitting in 9th or 10th for like 6-7 weeks now.
As bad as you are, there are teams that are way worse.
Yeah, which is incredible.
It's incredible.
We have 2 wins out of 15. So I look at the table and I'm like, we're on 31 out of 23 games. Like, we're not, I don't know. We can still finish in Europa League, and I think that's probably where we will finish. But I don't think Graham Potter's the guy to do it. And the thing is, we just shouldn't have fired Tuchel. We've been saying that for a while now. But, like,
it's not a thing
he lost to, like, what? Sparta Prague or whoever he lost to in Champions League 1-0.
Dynamo Zagreb.
Thank you. Dynamo Zagreb. And then he just gets fired on the way home. Like,
that's bullshit.
The fact that happens and then Southampton, the team that will be relegated, beat Chelsea 1-0 and Graham Potter's comfortable. It's very strange.
I called it.
James
Ward-Prowse banger, dude.
You literally called it.
I was like,
I don't know why you didn't put money on it.
I don't know. It was.
I did have him on my fantasy though. I took your advice. I had him on my fantasy.
What's crazy is that I thought he would have gotten maybe 1 or 2 more shots similar to that, but it literally was the only free kick he got in that area, and he banged it in. It wasn't Kepa though. To be fair.
Fair. It's so bad that Evan Chung, who's come on this podcast, who is a huge Chelsea fan, pretty big on Instagram, got a couple, 20-some thousand followers just for being a Chelsea kid. He's calling now for Potter's head.
Yeah, he's pretty positive.
And he's
overall.
a very optimistic dude about Chelsea.
Yep.
And just about soccer in general. And he's calling for Potter's head. So
there's only so much you can take watching your team just kind of flop around, especially with the amount of money and the amount of excitement they had in the both transfer windows, the last 2, summer and winter. To spend 600, I think that's a little inflated number. I think they overpaid for a couple players like Mudryk and Enzo. Like those transfers blew up their budget. I think they were like worth maybe half as much. But either way, you spend that much money, you expect like some kind of like production from those players.
You just expect goals at least, right? Like defense takes a while to gel, but like so. We could talk about the week coming up.
But you're not getting scored on, really. Like, you're losing games like 1-0 or tying, right? You're not getting, like, it's not like a 3-0 situation. None of these games are like, you're getting beat by a goal.
The thing is, we got beat by 4-1 against Brighton.
4-1, yeah, Brighton. But that was the outlier. All the other games have been fairly close. I think the Badia Shield signing was, like, ended up being really good. And the Enzo signing is a good signing. It's just that you overpaid for him. He's a solid midfielder, right?
Oh, he's
very solid.
He's a top midfielder, probably top 25 in the world at his position. But if he's top 25, then he's not worth 120 million.
No,
right?
No.
He's worth 60. Okay, we agree. Okay, so, anyways, the weird thing is, and we'll get into this when we get to the week. We play you guys this weekend.
Yeah,
and that's not comfortable.
It's at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
I know.
That's brutal.
It just sets up.
Rough.
It sets up. The other thing that I will say from this past weekend was City somehow, and we gave no respect to Nottingham Forest when we looked at this game. We said absolutely 0 chance. We said, we're not even going to cover it. City's going to beat Nottingham. They tied, 1-1.
Late
And
Chris Wood.
Men in Blazers put up a video of the fans chanting back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
And because Nottingham Forest has actually won 2 European Cup Winners' Cups way back in the day. And they're like, you'll never be champions of Europe, you'll never be that. And then City fans were like, you weren't even alive when it happened. And then Nottingham Forest fans were like, you won't be alive when you guys win, you'll be dead. It was just like, it was just ridiculous that Nottingham Forest, a team that's going to be fighting for relegation, is arguing with oil barons about, who's going to be champions of Europe. I don't know. The whole thing was like out of the metaverse. And then the fact that they tied. Oh,
84th minute, Chris Wood, the guy they brought.
The one that mother freaking Wood, dude.
Didn't he leave Newcastle for Forest? Is that a thing?
I want to say Burnley.
He left the team. He went to Forest.
He was with Newcastle.
Okay, but he was
and with Burnley recently. Okay, so I'm not sure.
He joined Forest in
Oh yeah.
In January.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Recent acquisition, as far as I know.
Job.
So
good job, City. Let like a championship striker score on you.
And then the other one I think to call out was that Everton beat Leeds.
It was a banger though. That goal was a banger. Seamus Coleman. That guy's like 90.
Coleman's my favorite player in Everton, only because when I recently today actually I literally just got back from Colombia, and in Spanish they call him Coleman.
Oh yeah, Coleman.
Coleman lo tiene, lo pega gol. And I'm like,
that goal was like a crazy angle too. It was crazy. It was like impossible.
I mean, he hit it, and obviously the goalie, came out thinking, oh, he's not gonna. Why would he put it in behind me? It was a very similar goal to 2000. Here comes some history.
Crazy fucking stat. Out of
2006. Oh my God.
2006.
2006 World Cup.
Oh my God.
Brazil versus North Korea. Oh my God. What was this guy's name? Oh, he was a right back. He had a bald head. He played for Inter when they won Champions League. Anyways, I can't think of it. I'll think of it. We'll throw it up there. But anyways, it was a very weird goal. It's one of those ones where the goalie anticipates a cross, so he's going to cheat a little bit, and then you just hit it kind of, towards the goal, and the goalie's out because he's already lunging for the cross.
So the result of that game, Leeds is in relegation. Everton's out of relegation zone.
Leeds is in some serious trouble.
Leeds is in trouble. They don't have a manager. They still don't have a manager.
They don't have anything. They don't even have vibes.
But you don't want to know.
Minimum.
Okay, so you want to know the manager I think that's going to get sacked next is Potter. I mean, that's an obvious, just because they have a higher standard there, right? But David Moyes at West Ham is doing a craptacular job on that with a side that's pretty decent. Like that team should be doing much better than what they're doing, and their goal differential does kind of tell that story. They're only on like -9, which every other team around 18th, 20th to 15th are on like -20 goal differential. So they're the story of that team is that like they're underachieving a little bit. They have Declan Rice. They have who else do they have? Souček and Bowen, right?
Jarrett Bowen. Yeah, Jarrett Bowen's nice.
And it was. I think David Moyes is just picking the wrong side. I think he's just not doing a very good job managing that side. Like he's not playing Scamacca. He's playing who's there? Antonio, who I think is just he's over the hill. I think he's done.
Your boy?
I think he's done. I think Antonio's done. He didn't show up at the Spurs game. He didn't do anything. Bowen was the one that was kind of pulling the strings with the attacking stuff. So I think David Moyes should be under more pressure than they're talking about.
David Moyes is an interesting pick for the next sack because he has been such an up and down. Like he was at Everton for a long time and did really, really well. And he did so well that when Ferguson left, they gave it to him. And then he was so bad at United. I remember hearing interviews where he wouldn't even come, he'd come to the practice and he wouldn't even have any technical stuff set up. He'd just basically say scrimmage. Yeah. So they weren't prepared for the weekend.
He was scared. He was asking assistants and stuff when he was at United, what to do. He didn't have any idea. He didn't have a clue.
It was bad. And then that doesn't work out. That burns. Obviously, going to United for any coach since Ferguson has just been a death knell. And then he comes, I forget, I feel like he was at another club, but makes his way to West Ham, or maybe it was right to West Ham. He was at a couple other clubs. Makes his way to West Ham, and he... Last year, what it was just it was an overachieving, and it was the exception, not the rule. And West Ham decided to pay him and keep him like it was the rule, not the exception. And they are finding out the hard way that is not how to do it. And I think they also thought that he was such a good coach that he could figure it out with the team they had, because they really didn't, like, compared to other Prem teams this past summer, they didn't go out and like splash cash or try to buy or change things up. I feel like they felt comfortable, like, oh, our team competed, we got in Europa League, like, we're good.
Yeah. Also, they still have Lanzini on the bench.
How do you keep him on the bench?
I don't even think I don't think he's very good. He's past whatever he had hitting,
Really?
because all he can do is hit whirlies. That's all he can do. But I guess if you throw him in,
if you're gonna sit back and hold, you just need a guy who can hit a worldie, like James Ward-Prowse.
Yeah, but James Ward-Prowse can actually retain the ball and pass it. Lanzini can't do that. They have Danny Ings. They brought him in.
The Danny Ings buy.
So
Whenever
weird.
you buy Danny Ings, your team is just like about to go through it.
Well, last season what they did was they rode Bowen.
They
rode
Bowen, dude.
They rode Bowen for all he's worth, which wasn't a lot because he had one good season. Now he's like
They
doing
rode him
nothing.
to the bone.
Yeah. Oh,
You get it?
that's a good one.
To the bone.
To the bone. My favorite part about the weekend is I sent you a text. I don't know if I sent it to you, but it was like it was a tweet that said something like all it took for Spurs was to sign a $40 million right wing back for Emerson Royale to turn into prime Cafu. Because the guy,
I saw that.
Yeah.
I looked down on the score sheet and I see Emerson Royale. Here's the thing about Emerson Royale. When Emerson Royale scores, Spurs fans look, yeah, that's what he should be doing. When he does anything else, they're like, he's a piece of shit.
yeah, we are.
You guys are
we're
brutal
really
to that
great.
man.
You-
You're
to be
brutal
fair-
to that man.
To be fair, you were saying he's a baller from day one. You're like, oh, he's good.
I think he's good.
But
I
you
think
also
he's
said
solid.
that you also say that Winks is good. Harry Winks.
I mean, Harry Winks,
can pass backwards
just like
real
Phil
good.
Jones, they stick around.
It's Phil
There's
Jones.
something about their stayability. They're still on the top of the charts.
You know what's
there.
funny about Harry Winks is that he got loaned to Sampdoria in the Serie A, and so they're like a low level Serie A team, like fighting for
Did he
relegation.
just not go?
No, he went, but he was injured. And he's there now, and he's like balling. He's balling out.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, he's playing fantastic. I
Well,
guess.
it's the Italian league. I'm not.
I know, but
Sorry
like,
to all you Italian league
he's
fans.
gonna-
It's
he-
just
the
not,
problem
not
is
the same
that
level.
Spurs don't want him, but he's going to come back to Hotspur Way, and he's going to think that he's going to get a spot in the midfield. But they're just going to either loan him out again or sell him to probably a La Liga club, probably like Atletico. Atletico seems to be like the island of misfit toys for fallen Premier League stars.
It is. I mean, Simeone's one of the most overpaid coaches at this point in soccer history, in European football history. So yeah, that week, the Nottingham tie, that was kind of awkward. I don't know how City dropped points after they beat. Like, the thing I texted in the chat was that just shows how good the Premier League is. City goes in and I think they do a boss job. They beat Arsenal. And then the next week they drop points to a team that's fighting for relegation. That is how competitive this league is.
I'm used to it because Spurs dropped points to Leicester than they walked all over West Ham. I mean, that's not. And then Leicester this week got absolutely smoked by United.
They did. I watched most of that game. Let's look at the next game day. So we just had game day 24. Let's look at game day 25. Our two teams play, but I believe that's the last game, so we'll look at that last. Fulham Wolves, me. Newcastle Brighton is postponed. Leeds Southampton, my God. Okay. If Leeds lose this game,
It's over.
It's not good.
It's not good.
It's not good. Also, Southampton will be on a 2-game winning streak, which is pretty good when you're bottom of the Premier League. That hardly ever happens. I'm going to go with the tie on this one. I just think they're both going to be playing for the battle of who cares less. What do you think?
I don't. Yeah, I want Leeds to win. That's it. That's all I can say about that.
Leicester Arsenal is going to be at the King Power. I would love Leicester to surprise here.
That'd be great.
I watched the United game.
They had some good. It was
They
De
did.
Gea that kept them in that
No,
game.
he had a couple. Dude, he had a world
One
class
header,
saves.
the header that should have been a goal, and he somehow like.
I feel like he had a kick save too
Yeah.
off James Madison. I was like, dude.
So if and those were in the first half. I think if Leicester had scored even one of those goals, it would have been a much closer game. But then again, Rashford's on a fine vein of form.
Dude, Rashford's that boy
Unreal.
looks good. Everton. Oh, sorry. So what do we think? I think this is going to be a tie. I think Leicester Arsenal is going to be a tie.
I would not be surprised. Arsenal, although they played better this past week, like they played better against Villa, like That game was tied up until the 94th minute,
I know.
and it took a bit of Jorginho luck for them to get past that team. And then the fourth goal was just a fast break. The goalie was trying to get in the header. But anyway, I said this in the chat. I said Arsenal were lucky to walk away with a win, and it was not well received from one John Scheimer, but I still hold to that. They were lucky. That goal was lucky. They were 2 minutes away from tying that game.
So you know what John Scheimer would say? He would say they created their own luck by putting enough pressure on to make that happen.
The ball, it was a ball like 25 yards out, shot, hit the post, went off at Emi Martinez's head and went in the goal. That was an own goal from Emi Martinez. So if you don't call that luck, I don't know. It's just luck. It's fine. It's not bad. It's just luck. The connotation that luck is somehow bad is not. It takes luck sometimes to win games. It was lucky that they walked away with the 3 points and not 1 point. So, that being said, they can foreseeably tie Leicester, but I don't see it happening. Especially if is that the King Power? Maybe.
It's at the King Power. I mean, Leicester's just so hot and cold right now. Like, after they beat Spurs, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe they have a little fight. Everton, Aston Villa is the next game. Everton coming off that big Leeds win. If this game is at Goodison, which it is, I'm going to go with Everton.
Yep,
So,
Everton.
West Ham, Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest coming off a big tie, a big 1 point. West Ham coming off a butt kicking. This game is
A slapdown.
A smackdown. This game's going to be at London. I'm going to go with the West Ham. I'm going to go with a West Ham win here.
Oh, no way. They play low block. All they do is defend. They got nothing.
Do you think Nottingham Forest win this?
I don't think they win. I think it's going to be a draw. 1-1.
Okay, that's fine. Bournemouth, Manchester City. Now, Manchester City.
It's a banana peel for City.
It's another like these.
And they're coming, but the problem is they're going to have to rotate because of Champions League. So they're going to have some. It's going to be an A/B squad. So we'll still see Haaland. We'll still see probably Grealish. No, actually, we'll probably see Foden because Grealish will play in the Champions League. So it's going to be a weird game. I don't think it's going to be a City loss. I think they'll win, but only by a goal.
Yeah, I think it's going to be exactly the smallest margin. The next game is Crystal Palace Liverpool. This is going to be played at Selhurst. Geesh. Let me look at where Crystal Palace is.
Nobody likes playing
12?
Crystal Palace anytime.
Oh, man.
They got Zaha running around.
Oh, Eze's nice. I'm going to go with a tie here. And
Yeah.
I'm also kind of hoping for that because I need Chelsea to,
Yeah, I think Liverpool. They're going to be coming off of a Champions League midweek game, but the game's on Tuesday, so they're going to have plenty of days to recover. I do think they'll rotate a little bit off this game. They got Jota back this past week, which is a good sign for them. I think
Very
they even
good sign.
subbed in Firmino too. So,
They did. Bobby came in.
Nunez went out with a shoulder injury. I don't know if he's really hurt, if it was just kind of one of those like turf type of.
Shoulder injury. Whenever like footballers get injuries that have to do with not like
Their legs.
waist and lower,
Yeah,
I'm always
you're just
weirded
like,
out.
meh.
Like, oh, he turned his wrist. I'm like, is he a goalie? Like, what are we doing here?
Well, anyway, he looked like he tried to run it off. Like he tried to play
Tried to
it
run
off.
his shoulder off.
He tried to run it out like, and he was like, ooh. Yeah,
He did the universal. I need some love.
yeah, but it was like the 75th minute, so I think he already scored. So, Liverpool maybe they're a little bit too confident after their win
You think so?
last weekend.
Well, okay.
I'm going very conservative.
You going tie again?
Draw.
I'm going draw too. Honestly, I feel like February's a slog.
Yeah, it's
Europe's
just
back up.
dude,
Everyone's hungover still.
If you look at we'll talk about fantasy in a minute, but if you look at the fantasy, this is very indicative of like where the league is right now. The average score was like 40 points, maybe less.
Really?
Yeah, it was very low. There was not a lot of high scoring teams in like usually you see like 140,
Yeah.
150
crack
as like
150.
that some like crazy score 150.
Yeah.
Like the high score when I checked it on Sunday was like 90. It was pretty low. I just feel like every team just kind of was like, we're tired. It's cold. It looks cold in England right now. It looks cold. It's rainy and cold.
It looks not fun.
They're like warming up and like I saw Son when he was warming up. He was warming up in like a fucking puffer jacket. It was like it looked. I mean,
Like Canadian goose,
yeah, like a Spurs issued like Canadian,
a Spurs goose,
but like with the vest, like with the yellow
train
they
top.
call
Yeah. I understand what. Yeah.
Yeah.
The bib.
Bib.
All right, go to Tyler. So
penny,
Man-
a
Man-
penny. as they call it.
A penny.
Is that a New England thing, penny? Or is that like
Probably.
a? It's probably a New England thing. Like,
Yeah.
like when we say how we call like sprinkles jimmies.
Yeah.
In those situations.
One of those situations.
Okay.
Manchester United and Brentford are postponed on Sunday. I'm not exactly sure why.
Because Manchester United are playing against Newcastle in the League Carabao Cup.
Oh my gosh, they're in the final.
Carabao Cup. Yeah,
Dude.
Manchester United and Newcastle could get a trophy this year, and secure a spot in Europa Conference League.
I think the last time Newcastle won a trophy was in the mid-'90s when they won the Premier League with Alan Shearer.
I don't see them beating United, to be perfectly honest.
I don't see them beating Marcus Rashford, to be perfectly honest. That dude's on a tear.
And United are playing, like, I thought they played really well this past weekend, and Casemiro wasn't playing, and Fred was playing, and Fred looked fine. Man,
Fred is more than serviceable, and I hate to say it. You ready for the final game? Tottenham, Chelsea.
I mean, there's not much to break down here. We got a team in a rich vein of non-form.
No. You said it right. You have a team in a rich vein of form.
Oh, bad form.
No. And then you have a team that's just rich.
I don't think Spurs are in any they're up and down. They're not. So you get 1 week you got Spurs who are like a top 4 team. Next week you got Spurs who are a very below average team losing to Leicester. Mm-hmm. So I don't know which one you're gonna get. You can get the team that balled out against City, or you're gonna get the team that couldn't score a goal against AC Milan. You know.
What do you think?
To be fair, it was at San Siro.
What are you thinking?
It's at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, so I'm thinking Spurs are going to win. That's just my hope, but it'll be a tighter game than anybody will feel comfortable.
I actually think Chelsea win this.
Oh.
Only just because the law of averages.
Yeah, yes. And the law of Spurs being Spurs and
Spursy, and in the last 15 to 20 years, Chelsea have always had Spurs' ticket, and that's just how the game is, right? Spurs should win this game. Momentum-wise, they should win this game, but that's why I think it's going to be really difficult. Chelsea literally have almost nothing to lose, which is dangerous.
Yeah, they can't get
if they
worse.
lose again at Tottenham Hotspur, okay, they're a top 4 team. They're probably top 10 in Europe right now. Tottenham, okay,
yeah,
all right,
okay, yeah.
That's probably expected to be when they look at the rest of their games and what Chelsea has. Do some napkin. We have 15 games left. We're looking at this game. We're if we get a point, that'd be cool. So a win is an outlier. So if we get it, I don't know. I actually think Chelsea are going to win. I don't think it's going to be pretty, and I think it could be one of the first nails in the coffin for Conte. Not that he'll get fired before the season's over, because I do think you're going to stick with him through the season. But I don't know.
He's not going to be there again, from what I understand. He's
resting
at Italy. He had gallbladder surgery and came back too early. His assistant Stellini has been taking over, and he's been doing fine. I think he's sort of quiet quitting. That's kind of how I feel about it. Yeah. Conte kind of just I don't want to be there. My family's in Italy. I don't need the money. Really, I don't have anything to prove.
It's stressful. It's stressful being a manager in England, especially being a Spurs manager.
And this is a crappy time of the year. It's not like it's nice out. It's crappy. It's cold.
He'll be happy in May, when hopefully Spurs, maybe not in May, but Spurs will definitely be going for top 4 in May. I don't know. Maybe Spurs continue in Champions League. Who knows? Yeah,
I mean, they got a game against Milan and at home. And yeah, I think the game favors Spurs just because of their better form and at home. Mm-hmm. But you're totally right. I mean, the record, that Chelsea usually beat Spurs, but then again, at Stamford Bridge, Spurs tied it in the last minute.
Yep.
And they got a draw out of the game.
And that literally led to Conte. It was one of the first nails in the Conte coffin. In the Tuchel coffin. Mm. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm open to anything, but I do think it's going to be a surprise for Spurs. Actually, nothing will surprise me. If Spurs win, okay. If they tie, okay. If Chelsea wins, okay. I'm not. Chelsea wins.
Nice. That's a nice position to be in. That you kind of have very low expectations. So you can kind of be happy with
you know what? I just would like us to play well. That's all.
Oh, I scored lower than the average in fantasy. So let's bounce on over to fantasy.
So in fantasy, I scored on this past week. I scored 55, which is 11 higher, and you scored what? 39. 39, baby.
But it was just an off week, all around. The highest was 114. And that was because they bench boosted, I think, and
Yeah,
triple captained. They triple captained Rashford. Which
if you look
a bad
at
call.
if you look at our league, 1 through 9 did not change. There was no change. No one went up or down. That's how boring the week was as far as like goals, assists, and like the people that should score.
I went down from 10 to 11, so even there is like not that big of a deal.
Yeah, but even there, you
like
went
a
down
difference of 5 points.
5 points. It's nothing. It's nothing. So the league is super tight because also 9 and 10 are tied. So you're right there. And actually, then it jumps up quite significantly. It goes from a little bit up to me, which is, almost 32 points. Oz is close enough to the top that he can make a run because he's basically tied for second. Like Mitch and Oz are both in second. The league is super competitive. If you're in the fantasy, you have to have your shit together because it's very competitive. So if you're listening to this, make sure you get your shit together. What is a player on I want to look at your team that you think you're going to maybe do away with?
Oh, I have an injured player, Rodrigo, that I have to get out of there. And I got to put in somebody like probably like Saka, honestly. Fernandez wouldn't be a bad pick either, but I mean, Saka's picked in 35% of the leagues. So 35% of
Saka's
people
super nice. I have Fernandez, Rashford, James Ward-Prowse, Almiron, and Martinelli, and then Holland up top. Like I actually really like my team. I would like to get. I even have Mitrovic on the bench, but because that dude's like I don't know, eternally hurt. What formation you play? You in a 4-4 what? 4-4-2, 4-4-2?
I play like a 5-3-2.
Do you?
Yeah, I play 5 defenders because you can get more points with defenders.
I know, I like that.
Yeah.
No, you have a 4-4-2 going.
Oh, well, that was just this week.
That was this week. Okay.
Yeah, usually
you drop one back. Yeah, because I think like I want to look at what Mitch is playing. So the top of the league is playing a 4-4-2. Oz is playing a 3-5-2, which is what I'm playing. Oh, Oz is a really nice dude. Look at Oz's midfield: Saka, Rashford, Matoma, Odegaard, and Fernandez. And he somehow gets Holland and Kane up top. How, dude? That dude's a Houdini. But he's got Trippier on the bench, bro, who's I think is a great little player. I'll look at Diego's team super quick. Holland, why can't I pronounce his name? Nketiah. God. Holland, Nketiah, Kane, Odegaard, Rashford, Matoma, De Bruyne. Dude, nice team, Diego. Some of the other things is that just because you have a really good team that would be like good on paper or good in the real world doesn't mean that they're good in fantasy, which is the real mind blow when you're trying to win this thing. But anyway, any last tip on fantasy?
Prayers up.
Prayers up.
That's it. That's all I got because I didn't even like set my team last week. I completely forgot.
That's it. Week 25 is this weekend. Not sure when you're seeing this, but tomorrow, Tuesday, and then Wednesday you have Champions League, and Thursday is Europa League. Good to see English teams win when they can. So that's it.
Ciao.
Ciao.